r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. Food industry staff of Reddit. What are some horrors you saw yesterday on Valentine's Day? Food court at the mall. Just a lot of dudes standing or sitting at a table for hours with flowers, gifts, etc. Some of their dates showed up. Some left alone. Holy shit, this literally was me, hahaha. Albeit a bit different. I surprised my girlfriend at work with her favorite cupcakes. She asked me to have lunch with her, but she had a lot of work to do, so I had to wait for her alone in the mall food court for over half an hour. Chef made a special menu. No one ordered a single thing from it. This was an Irish pub, mind you, and was more of a runoff for those not celebrating. Waste of food and labor cost. Was my first shift. Or reading that made me feel so bad. All their effort. While they probably had to miss the day themselves. And tried to make others feel special. Bartender here. Not my guest, but a guest in the restaurant threw up on his steak not even a minute after it was placed in front of him. His date kept surprisingly calm for that scenario. Heck, my dad learned that his chemotherapy ruined his ability to enjoy steak in a very similar way. Only luckily we were home. One of our favorite regular customers brought in her boyfriend for the first time, and in her excitement she bumped into a table and knocked someone's cup off. Which isn't bad, but in her haste to pick up the cup she hit her head on the corner of the metal table and cut her forehead open. It looked like a mini crime scene. Edit. I didn't expect this to get so much attention. She's totally fine. We cleaned her up and gave them a stack of free food cards because she's awesome and we love her. OMG, poor thing. Someone get that girl a drink. So, I had some guy who couldn't get the concept of ravioli. He kept asking if we hollowed out a spaghetti, his words, and stuffed it with lobster. I said no. But we did use pasta. He kept reiterating that he wanted a pasta. It finally dawned on me. Sir, do you think that spaghetti is the Italian word for pasta? His date was clearly unimpressed. But I finally get him down for an order of lobster ravioli. Even though he still seemed unaware of what he was actually ordering. After he got his food, ate one of the ravioli, he said to me, like I was the dumbest shit on the planet. Bro, all you had to do was tell me that they were boyardees. I know what those are. Boyardees. For those who don't know, that's a tinned pasta brand, which includes ravioli. Huh? Man. This is a really great steak. Him. Did you say this is a really great date? Huh? No. Oh god. Reminds me of the time I was having sex with some guy I'd just started dating, and he must have misheard something I mumbled as I love you because he said I love you too, and in that moment I entered an entirely new level of hell trying to decide how exactly I was supposed to respond to that. Unfortunately, that wasn't even the most awkward interaction I ever had with him. Work at a pizza place. Heart-shaped pizzas that took twice as long to put in a pan. And nobody was allowed to order ahead of time because corporate thought it'd be hella busy. Online orders weren't going through properly, so we had some customers waiting for their pizza for a solid 40-50 minutes. Short-staffed on delivery drivers as well. Overall pretty stressful. Edit. Hungry Howie's. More of any American chain, but good guesses. Jet's Pizza? The hearts are terrible. They just stick inside the pan. I work in a kitchen at a popular steakhouse. We had a wait of over 200 parties and we ran out of buzzers. Things were a mess. Anyway, we had a new guy working that night because everyone has quit. He sent out steaks all at the wrong temp. We had mediums come back well and well-dones go out rare. No specific disaster, but that was the worst and so hard to watch. Man, watching this happen while being a helpless foreperson is so brutal. My restaurant is Michelin rated, and on Valentine's Day we do over 250 guests with 2 line chefs. One on grill and one on sortie. That's it for 250 plus guests. Last year the grill cook had a total meltdown. Just throwing shit behind the line. Talking about how he should just quit and start a new life because he sucks at cooking. And every time we thought he might make it out of the weeds, a steak would get sent back and he'd lose it all over again. Meanwhile, there's a line of servers standing at the pass slowly developing ulcers waiting for their food to come out. Terrible to watch. Totally felt for him. I worked at a fine dining restaurant years ago. A middle-aged guy comes up to me, hands me a gorgeous sapphire and diamond ring, just gorgeous, and asks me to have the pastry chef include it with his companion's dessert. The chef found beautiful blooms to decorate her dessert plate and placed the ring in the middle of one. She saw the ring, took it out of the flower, and placed it on the table. Then, she picked up a fork and started to eat her dessert without saying anything at all. The ring must have been an extravagant screwed up apology on his part and she was having none of it. I was tempted to say she doesn't want the ring. I do. I've never understood why people buy gifts as an apology. Wouldn't you just always associate that thing with what they were apologizing for? I bartend. I'm assuming this couple was on a date. They just ordered their food. In less than 10 minutes of their date, I saw the girl take a drink, and I mean a full 20-ounce beer, and throw it on the guy. It hit the people behind him, the walls, and it soaked the floor. She immediately walked out almost in tears. The guy's face as he just sat there soaked in beer was indescribable. It was the most movie-like breakup I've ever seen happen in real life. A man came in and ordered 50 quarter pounders at the McDonald's I work at. I got off just before we started making them, so I lucked out. But if you know how the kitchens work at McDonald's, you know the horror this entails. Edit. For those asking, this is a horror because we only had 2 grills because we closed the other 2 for the night. And you can only cook 3 quarter pounder patties at a time on one grill. So imagine making this order only being able to cook 6 at a time. Edit 2. The grills we use are about 1 foot by 1 foot cooking area. So we can max at about 6 reg patties or 3 quarter patties. Edit 3. For those wondering, it makes life so much easier if you call in an order like this 30 minutes to an hour before you come to the restaurant. Those of you who call in your big orders, you all are literally saints, and those of us who work grill really appreciate you. Edit 4. This was not in DC. Yes. This will provide adequate sustenance for the Doctor Who marathon. Last year I worked at a high-end sweets shop. Everything is top notch as advertised. It was what people were willing to do for it that scared me. Chocolate covered strawberries? $50 per box of 4. We couldn't keep them in stock. And more than a few sweaty husbands begged us to make more and throw them in any container we had. One guy walking in on Valentine's morning offered to pay us double. Even without the fancy romantic packaging, we didn't take it. We had also sold a big embroidered heart-shaped box for nearly $100. One guy asked us how much it cost, left, and came back later with his friend. He'd asked him for a loan to buy V-Day chocolates. Relationships are wild. $50 for 4 strawberries? Did Meryl Streep dip them in solid gold or something? Had a woman at my place get extremely pissy because she wanted her prime rib sizzling hot but also rare as possible. Like, lady, have you ever actually eaten prime rib or have any idea what the process is? Jesus Christ. Hey, I think I can translate. She wanted a ribby Pittsburgh rare and didn't know what it's called. Not an employee but a bystander. Me and my friends meet up at this big food court to hang out, where one of them who got there an hour early saw this one dude with a bouquet and a giant teddy bear. Almost 5 hours later we come back to the food court for lunch and the guy was still there, still with no date. He left shortly after and we watched him make all, throw the flowers at the ground, pick them back up and leave. A few years ago my family and I bought some ice cream, and when we went to throw the wrappers in a garbage can on the street, we found a perfectly intact and really nice bouquet inside. We got the bouquet out, and we could tell it had been thrown really recently. There was only a card with the name of the florist on it. We had to meet with grandma and her boyfriend right after. And they were like, why are you bringing us such a nice bouquet out of the blue like that? And we were just laughing our asses off as we just picked it up from a garbage can. We told them the story and they kept the bouquet for a week. So the pizza place I work for cuts all the pepperoni pizzas into hearts, and we had to make about 450 of those. Plus 250 more pizzas. In 4 hours. Our slogan is take and bake. So obviously we make the pizzas and you take them and bake them at home. Several times. We had people get their pizzas at the end of the line and go, it's not cooked. Deadpan. My co-worker looked at them and said yes to every single one of them. Also, I took a phone call and I said, when will you be coming to get your pizza? And she goes, actually I'd like it delivered. Needless to say, we didn't deliver it and she hung up. TL, doctor sold 700 pizzas in 4 hours and people should just read our slogan. In my area you can get almost anything delivered now, even take and bake pizza places. Postmates pretty much has taken everything over. I even suggest if we can't come to you with our delivery drivers, an app will come to you. I work at pizza place where we know life's short. Eat better pizza. Not a staff, but a bystander. My wife and I went to Cheesecake Factory for lunch. In a bid to avoid the crowds. Next to us, a dude got down on one knee and proposed. Yes. In a Cheesecake Factory. The waitress was filming it. People were watching. She saw the ring and started crying. He smiled. And all looked good. Except when my wife and I left 20 minutes later. She was still crying. Covering her face. And he wasn't smiling anymore. I couldn't hear well enough to know what they were talking about. But they kept speaking in low voices. Didn't look good. Proposing to someone in a Cheesecake Factory has got to be the least romantic thing ever. I had a man verbally abusing his wife at my table. And I don't mean talking over her and being rude, I mean saying things like, what the duck do you think you're doing, you ducking beach, and I'll give you $36,000 to get the duck out of here right now, you piece of shit. Had 4 different tables complain about them and we eventually asked them to leave. I've never seen anything like it before. At one point the guy went to the restroom and I went up to the wife and asked if I could help in any way and if she was alright. I've never wanted to assault someone in my life more than that piece of shit. Edit. For those interested, we also had something really good happen when our chef and her girlfriend got engaged at the end of service. It kind of balanced it out. What was her reply? How was she reacting to this abuse? Was she brushing it off like normal or was she wilting under his onslaught? A bit of context. There's a front desk girl who everyone hates because she doesn't do her job. Goes on smoke breaks too much. And just generally bothers everyone while they're working. Anyway, so I'm on salad and dessert prep and I had about 8 tickets that I was struggling to make, and I hear the front desk girl ask if the tray of garlic bread that just came out of the oven was any of the waitresses. The thing about garlic bread is you have to pay for it, so there's a set number of slices. So she turns to me and asks if it's anyone's while I'm busy So I just shrug and try to finish up the orders. I look up and see her just finishing shoving the entire piece in her mouth. Not 30 seconds later one of our waitresses walks in and goes, "Where's the last piece of garlic bread?" I don't even look up and just go, "The front desk girl ate it." The waitress went off on that girl and told our manager, who also went WTF. Me and all the other cooks were laughing our heads off. Just in general, don't steal a customer's food. We had a reservation for a kid's birthday party on the bus. We have a seating section on an old school bus. A preteen couple comes in and the guy gets mad because we told him we couldn't seat them on the bus due to the reso. He tried to force his way up after being told repeatedly no. Pretty sure he was trying to impress his date, who watched this all unfold. I never really understand how people would think this kind of behavior is attractive. Just a bystander here. But I walked into a grocery store yesterday evening, which was pretty packed with last-minute frantic-looking Valentine's Day shoppers. I walked in at the same time as another man with a confused look on his face, and I hear him say out loud to himself, "Man, the store is pretty packed for a Friday evening." Then, we both turned the corner and are met with all of the last-minute flower arrangements and Valentine's cards layout, and I see the man completely freeze and again out loud. He says, "Oh. No. No. Today is Valentine's Day. Shit, I'm so ducked." As he quickly runs to the chocolate section, joining the rest of the panic-stricken dudes with the same looks on their faces. Hope those dudes are all still alive this morning. Lol. I stopped by the grocery last night after work. I couldn't believe all the people buying the stuff. It was 9 at night. My father manages a restaurant and he had a little argument with an IT guy a few weeks prior. The dude made a fake website for the restaurant and accepted over 200 reservations, which led to the restaurant being very packed. Lots of angry people and a few shattered glasses, lol. Some dank horrors here, but how about a moment of silence for our hotel motel workers the day after Valentine's Day? I ran the front desk to a hotel solo yesterday. Utter madness. Sold out with reservations. And a solid stream of locals coming in expecting to get rooms and arguments with their disappointed dates when they were informed that we were booked solid. Complaints from travelers just passing through and an older couple staying for a sports event about loud amorous noises emanating from rooms near to theirs. Phones ringing off the hook from people looking to book jacuzzi rooms when everyone in the city had been reserved in advance. A ridiculously drunk guy getting dropped off in an Uber expecting to get a room well after we'd sold out. Irate and yelling in a slurred manner. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Go sleep in the streets? Someone thinking it would be a great idea to dump a trail of glitter and rose petals down an entire hallway leading to their room. And this was just the 3 to 11 PM shift. RIP. Third shift and this morning's housekeepers. Ducking, like and subscribe.